Okay, going live.
Yeah, you Victor Faithful. Who's Victor? The big guy with the long hair.
Hello, welcome to the gathering 2025 in Czechia. This is Kevin and this is Alex.
Are we live?
And we are live.
Oh, no.
We are live.
We are live. We are live streaming.
We are live.
Yes.
We're finding
Say something for our audience.
and our guest for tonight is Ruben Daniels and
But this is the
Nina. Christina. Nice to meet you. This is your opportunity to tell the world about what you're doing.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited.
I can tell. That's what you get for sitting here.
We're ready. We are live already.
We're live.
My dear Kevin, there.
Okay. This is our studio audience.
What's your name?
I put you on the spot, but you don't have to.
No, I'm fine saying something to people I don't know, but I can't promise to be intelligible.
Oh, I always find you intelligible.
Good. Then I sit here as well, and we have two reporters, maybe guests inside, and the reporters outside.
Okay. So you want me to switch out here?
Can you sit inside, Victor, please?
You know what they just did, Ruben? They removed our ability to escape.
Oh, that's such a beautiful sunset behind you. You've got a beautiful backdrop. It's like amazing.
Which is mine now?
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I skipped. Oh yeah, you can do it later.
Is my hair okay?
Perfect.
Wearing a hat.
Yeah. Is it enough of the hair getting out of the head? No?
I don't understand this fashion stuff, so I can't speak to it.
I've got the picture. So
Okay.
I will. Don't worry. I promise. I give you my word.
Okay.
115, right?
So how we doing here?
Who's up? Rory Tews calls me 1 minute ago.
So
Rory Tews, come to the Coherence studio.
here I've already.
He called me a minute ago. Shall I call back?
Yes, try and call. Maybe he's trying to figure out how to get here. Maybe he's at the gate or something.
Well, while we're here with so many very intelligent, heartfelt people, what are we doing here
Hi, hold up, Rory.
while we wait?
No, go ahead.
While we wait,
Uh-huh.
are we on right now? Or are we?
We're on right now. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Great. All right.
Who would like to? Yeah, let's start on the end here.
All right.
I'm going to
And,
pick up Rory.
Okay.
Just give your name and.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody back to Coherence Studio for our nightly deep dive, where we go real deep on whatever we want to talk about. I'm Andrew. I'm sitting here with some very special guests and a very special filmmaker who's also a guest.
And a special filmmaker too.
Special, everybody's special. With that, let's introduce ourselves.
Hello everyone, my name is Ruben Daniels. I represent Elilo and the First Now.
I'm Victor Vorsky. I represent Coherence and The Gathering.
And I'm Kevin Triplett. I'm helping out with the studio, and I love what is being discussed here today. These layers of trust, coordination, community, impact. I would love to hear a deep dive into what's the most resonant for each of you.
Most resonant. So yeah, I think it was a really interesting day, as always at The Gathering and in the studio. Nothing went according to schedule, and everything that needed to happen happened. Just this is the magical superpower field of The Gathering. Nothing goes according to schedule, but everything that needs to happen happens. So we went all the way from very deep tech geek hashes, protocols, crypto, all the way to the very heights of how do we create a new story to tie it all together. So I think this is maybe something that's really special about this group here, is that we're able to go across the whole spectrum from really figuring out low-level algorithms and compatibility all the way to talking about culture and the human stuff. And for me, I would say it's an amazing day, but my spark was this model that Ruben drew here with these different levels of tech. Then, though I actually like Haifa's name of the bottom, it was, what was it? Something, then utility, then impact, and then use cases. I think that's an interesting way of naming the layers. And that made me realize that Coherence, the app that I'm intending to build, is playing at that use cases, that top layer, which was never, the idea is that there was another layer above application, was not even in my mind. But yeah, I really love that.
And Andrew, if you want to, you can pull the microphone close to Daniel. I would say it to Ruben.
Awesome. For me, I just had a lot of fun today. It was such a great group of people with so many different perspectives, and yeah, going deep and going wide on these ideas, and really finding resonance. You know, when you're just speaking one on one, it's often that you stay stuck to your worldview. But now, because we're in a group, we could really expand and get to a shared worldview and be like, wait a minute, this part is where I am, and that part, and oh, you're looking at it just slightly different, but it's actually kind of the same thing. And so finding that coherence from that worldview, I think, made it a lot of fun and opened up the opportunities to actually work together and start maybe seriously thinking about doing something that is above and beyond what our individual projects can do or are doing.
Let me, since we've been looking at this thing, this is what we drew today. Ruben started us down here at the base layer, and then we moved up to the community layer. And I won't go through all the little blocks here, but just showing that this is a layered cake, where different things happen and are enabled by the layer that comes before it. And so, and all the way up here is as design, which is how the humans would use all of this technology together to have an impact in the world. So I'll turn it over to Andrew now.
Yeah, my brain feels like it's gone through a real workout today, going from the most nitty-gritty technical pieces that I have to work really hard to understand, and then just zooming way out or way in or up and down and all around to think about how this all weaves together into a story that we can understand amongst ourselves, first of all, and then that we can share with other people, and that we can tell in order to get the resources that we need, and then build coherence in this community that's working on these tools, and then out to the larger, wider world. And I think the piece that's most resonating right now is just how clear it is that we are stronger together, more powerful, more just the exponential way that all these people, when working together, and tools when working together, can create a change that is just I said earlier, I feel like we're on this part of the exponential curve, and we're all looking up, and it feels like it's really, really high, but also there's so much momentum coming behind us. It's like it's a very, very exciting, and I think I'm also very much appreciating how much everybody here is able to keep their feet on the ground while looking up into the heavens and into the future. We can also be very present here. So yeah, just a really extraordinary group of people, and the field that is created by all of us together. This resonant field and coherent field creates kind of synchronicity that I was going to say borders on magic, but it is magic. It's literally magic, where I will ask for something, hot water, a specific person to talk to, an idea that's shared. It will just things will just appear instantaneously, like within a second. This happened 3 times today, and just things that feel like psychic connection. Where I'll share this one story because it's so great. I was talking to Tree about doing a media program, and because she was on this show last night and she was so amazing, I said, "You got to have a TV show," and she said, "I know." And while I was in bed this morning, the name for the show came to me: Ambassadors of Ancient Futures. Okay, it's interesting. I'm not sure how she'll resonate with it, but I'll try it out. So this morning I go up to her and I say, "What do you think about this idea for the name for your TV show?" And she's like, "Wait, did we already talk about ancient futures?" No. She said, when I arrived here, somebody looked at me and said, "You look like ancient futures." So, it just gives you goosebumps. It's like the synchronicity is magic. So I'm in that flow, and it feels real good.
I love the sense of feeling. I'm wondering, is there a prompt that can anchor us in something concrete that we're doing, that we discussed today? Because it's all good to talk about the amazing future that we see. How are we getting there? What are the challenges? What are some of the workarounds we've come up with for those challenges?
Well, maybe I can just share a little bit about the thing that I got really excited about, because you coined this term Regen OS.
I didn't coin it. So credit where credit is due. I'm in another conversation with a gentleman called Pavel Luksha. He couldn't come here because he's in Argentina right now. It's very interesting academic, but also he was very involved in the startup entrepreneurial scene and such in Moscow. Then he got out of Russia when things changed. So he is much more, and he's actually writing a book about the regenerative economy operating system. So in our conversations was regenerative economy operating system, and I'm like all about short names, as you know. And I was like, that's way too clunky. Can we shorten it? And I was like, regenerative society OS, and then it's just like Regen OS. And I brought it here without attachment, but really feeling the need that we need some kind of umbrella terms and ideas that we can all unite under. Not in an inclusive way, right? Unity through diversity. And I came and I floated Regen OS, and it seems to have resonated with everybody.
Yeah, and what I really like is that we started with the bottom layer of technology and systems, and as we go up slowly, we get to culture. But really, what struck me is that if we think about how we learn and how we really get to the essence of humanity, it's about play, right? It's about curiosity, learning through playing, and making that the way to actually adopt this new system. It's not something that's top down. It's not something you have to do it, do your taxes or else, or adopt these systems because it has this utility. You'll become more efficient. No, it's like, okay, yes, this can really help us maybe support a higher level of consciousness, but the way that we get there is by playing and by learning through playing. And I really like that, really grabbing that feminine part, right, and letting it flow through us. So just wanted to bring that as one of the key components that inspired me.
Do you want to add to that, or?
Well, I'm curious just in terms of the direction we go. I'm interested to sort of maybe summarize some of the strategies and kind of nitty gritty, and also feeling my own brain and how worked it is by doing that all day. I'm wondering if it might be interesting also to kind of come into a more, imaginal, expansive state, and really, having grappled with the real challenges of how to create this system. What would it be like to actually imagine now what it will be like when it is built? Because this is part of manifesting things, is to really speak clearly and precisely about what we'll be able to do with this regen OS. And we can talk about anything, but I'm curious, especially to hear from you, Ruben, because I haven't asked that question yet of you, and I feel like you have a vision of how things can be when this is available to people, and I'm curious to hear, like, paint a picture for us of what the world will be when we have access to these tools, if you're interested in that.
Sure, I can come up with something. As I step out of the car, I just did a ride share with somebody that is a friend of a friend who happened to go into the same direction, traveling 600 miles east. And we had a great conversation. We actually had a couple of people in common that we didn't know beforehand, because the system didn't show us. But we had that trust because of the trust connection in our trust network, and we found each other really within hours of me putting out that request. So I get out in this small little town because another friend had somebody who's visited this eco farm, and he wrote about that, and I really trust his recommendations. I had one other time when I was in Vietnam, and I went to this food forest that he'd been in. It was a great experience as well. And so I go to this place, and as I entered, I didn't really announce that I was coming, but I connect through the QR code with a few people there, and they immediately see how we're connected, and I already knew some of the things that they needed. So I brought some seeds and some small plants to them as gifts, helping them plant. And I've been to a couple of these, so I know a few specific permaculture techniques that could help them out. They offered me a place to stay, and I could eat with them, as long as I would also cook sometimes. So that was really, really wonderful to spend some quality time there. And actually, one of the techniques that they developed, I got to document and put into this collective system where we all share tips and tricks on how to do regenerative farming, especially in these quite dry climates that this was in. So that earned me a couple of reputation points. And this is the thing, right? I don't actually have money, but through these interactions, I'm able to share the resource.
Oops. Yes. We have a generator problem. I'm also the electrician, so I'll be right back. But we're still recording. Yes, yes, we're still live streaming.
Yeah, we're just so. By collecting this data, I'm helping a larger group create a database that helps us with the preservation efforts that we're doing collectively in bioregions that are similar. And so I actually get to earn through this thing where we have financial irrigation of money that people give for these type of regenerative efforts that go to me and many of my friends that get micropayments for the little things that we do, and that pays for things that we still have a dependency on, like the big mobile networks and whatnot. I don't know. That's what I got. Is that good enough?
I love that. I love that, and I'm going to give it to you.
Sorry. Decided.
Dude, it's
I think
the technology.
the technology fooled me. Okay, continue.
So it wasn't recording?
I don't know that sound because I put these in. I switched to these.
Oh gosh. Anyways, so I interrupted you because I really wanted to connect with your story. So as you travel around, and the amazing thing is that you can go from gathering to gathering, because in different places around the world, wherever you go, at some point there is a gathering. And you know, when you go to a gathering, that there's going to be a certain culture and interesting people to connect with. And before you come to the gathering, already the hive mind will suggest some people for you to have a conversation with. And maybe you have a chat, or you look at their profile, maybe you talk with them online before. And you're like, yeah, wow, I really want to meet these people. So even though you might be in a completely new country that you've never been before, when you arrive at the gathering, you already have some people that you know there. And the reason that this can happen is because it's become very easy to build a camp and very easy to organize a gathering, because the region OS.
Woohoo! Damn. They are not making it easy.
But now I think there's no audio problem, right?
Probably nothing happening.
Nothing
1
there.
2 1 2. Can you check on YouTube?
Go for it.
1 2 1 2.
Okay, we got it.
No, we are there.
Yeah, it's
But wait,
happening.
it has a lag. So
No,
we
no,
have, here we
there's-
still have light.
There's audio going. You're good. Continue.
Oh, this is like
No,
before.
no, see, we are there.
I just noticed. Amazing. 1 2 1 2.
Yeah. Let me give you the light.
We're doing a live stream right now.
Live stream in the dark.
You wouldn't know it.
But you can
But
you can sit in the
since you're
audience.
here,
Oh, hello.
what is the future you dream of?
Future dreamer, of course. Future dreamer, of course. Peace, harmony, love in entire world. No war, just inner beauty and expression, authenticity of everyone, and like just excitement, joy, freedom, and love for all beings.
There you go.
Humans, animals, and nature, and the balance in between, all of them, in a perfect
The
harmony.
technology.
And technology to serve humanity, not destroy it.
Nice.
So
Nice. I don't
that's
know
it.
I don't know about the serving part, but that is exactly what we're trying to build the culture and technology to enable. So the gentleman there very much summarized of what we're trying to achieve. But going back to what the region OS will happen. So you can go to a gathering in many parts in the world, and before you go, you'll already be connected with some people that are relevant to you. Maybe, as you said, some people that have worked in permaculture in those dry areas and have other techniques or other stories that you can share that you would be excited about sharing about. And this is possible because now building a gathering is supported by an app which takes you on a journey. And creating a gathering in your local area is like going on a journey, like playing a game. It's still hard work. You still have to find a space and manage a budget, but you don't feel alone in it. First of all, because the app takes you through the collective wisdom and experiences of others with an AI guide, but also because it connects you along the different steps with the journey of others that have walked that path, who can support you, guide you, give you advice, mental, emotional, or other support that you need. And because through all of the different group financing and funding methods, it becomes much easier to access and rally capital from many people to get things started and to make things go.
Beautiful. Well, I'm just going to keep riffing here, and having these in-person gatherings where we actually connect, like we are now, increases our own potency and resonance and ability to make change ripple out so profoundly, that creating these gatherings is not just joyous, but it's also very practical, because as we create these gatherings, we are seeding these hubs, these nodes in this network. And it may be a permaculture farm like we're at here. It may be a retreat center that's focusing on gathering people. It could be this, it could be that. But as we kind of make constellations of these different nodes, we're creating a whole flow and a kind of economy between them of resources and people and ideas, and they can start supporting each other. So it may be that here, for example, this is the first time they've hosted a gathering, and they had to rent a shower and toilets, kind of a mobile situation. Now, if they want to host another one, well, the next time what we can do is we can crowdsource a team to come help build some infrastructure for them, so that then this node gets stronger in the network. We're building, and maybe you come and offer your skills to help plant a permaculture garden, and we are strengthening these nodes as we're having a wonderful time connecting with each other. So there's a very pragmatic and kind of tangible, we're leaving the places better than we found them, more resilient than we found them. And by creating resilience in the physical world at each of these nodes, we're creating this resilient network that we get to move through.
I just want to quickly plug my friend Indy Rishi's Quantum Labyrinth, because that's exactly what he does. He goes, to these type of gatherings and festivals, and actually organizes people in a very playful way to regenerate that land. And so leaving that land better, planting trees, building composting toilets, and so on. And so every time an event happens, the land becomes better and better. It's a really, really fun way also to learn those things and to connect with the land. So, yeah.
Beautiful. And yeah, what I wanted to add to our story is also as you travel, since you are our journey, our archetype of going through the region OS, as you travel, the gifts that you leave, the contributions that you make, all add up and become part of your online reputation and then identity. So when you arrive at a new place, people know, oh, you helped in this way, or you helped in that way, and you connected with this way, and you had with this person, and you had a conversation with them, this person that I know maybe, or the person that I'm impressed about, and you had a conversation with them about this thing, or could you connect me with them? Could you introduce me? So our ability to connect, to turn connection into action, to turn connection into something meaningful happening in our life, becomes exponentially amplified. Right now, all of us have so many different connections on social media. In this future with Region OS, because those connections become rich, they become rich with encoding the trust, the relationship that we have. They become much more meaningful and useful.
I'm just inviting more people. So, how did you get from the region OS to talking about the gathering life?
We were invited, I think somebody invited us to think of what it would look like in this future. In the region OS future.
Ah, so that was the question.
That was the prompt.
Okay, beautiful. So, have you already told our audience what happened today?
Yes, more or less.
Yeah, we gave an overview.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, can I
Because I don't have much context. This is why I don't have much questions.
Then you will soon. You'll. I think what I really appreciate about what we're doing here is we are not just talking about what might happen in the future, but we're talking as if we are already in the future. And we are. One of the things we're right now. Now we are. No. All the things we need already exist. Or they are emergent. They are coming into being. And so living that way, living in the moment where it is, we are doing it. It is happening. This is the story that we are co-writing. Story living is what Brett Warshawski says.
Hello, Brett.
Hi, Brett. Thank you. Miss you. and I feel like, and coming back to this idea of gamification, right? The game is to not get is to stay in that future where we want to be manifesting from, right? This is part of how we do magic, actually, is we feel what it's like to exist in the world where we have already manifested that which we are trying to manifest. And so what seems like kind of just a fun, imaginative, story is actually what is creating. It is what we are manifesting. What we just described is happening because we're saying it. That's the storyteller in me.
Mm-hmm. That's really lovely. I have a dear friend who has this program called community, really called United Planet Games, and this is kind of what we do every time we come together. We don't imagine the future from the present, but we imagine the ancient futures from that place where it already happened. And it is such a powerful, magical way to actually then, roll the tape back and figure out how we got there. And yeah, that really resonates. Thank you for
that. I would like to float one here then. I have way too many ideas, and many of them I can't work with. But this is one that's been like in the background, keeps on knocking at the door, but I'm not going to let it in. But maybe somebody else can take it on. I have this dream of creating a story contest for better futures. And I think people can submit in whatever media they want, and then community, blah, 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 voting. Anyways, we select the ones that we all like the most. And then from there, work back to create the businesses which need to be created to make that future possible. So rather, like many business or tech people start with tech, product, and then I have to craft a deck and a story to sell my stuff to the customers, to investors. Instead, let's start with the really, really compelling story, which already has huge number of people saying, I want this, and then just work back and create the business.
100%.
I love that. And just on the micro level, this is, I think, the power of crowdfunding and crowd investing.
Exactly.
Right? Because then you can really get them, quote unquote, market signal, but really, what people really want and need, and they're willing to already put their money there at risk to do that. Obviously, it needs to be in a trusted environment where people, really get to, only get that money once they deliver something like that. But it's a perfect way to really become participatory, right? If you think about a cooperative environment where everyone co-creates, partly by bringing these ideas and supporting them and putting some money there, partly by creating them. I think that's the way of the future. And so we don't need big investment to come from people with a lot of money, but we can have big investment come from a lot of people with only a little bit of money.
Yeah, I would love to riff on that and speak a little bit about the media component that I've been co-dreaming with Brett and others, because I think the power of storytelling is what can draw people into these imagining things sort of backwards into reality, the way you're talking about, and also kind of draw people into participating by saying, yes, I'm not just going to click the thumbs up button. I'm going to put a couple bucks on that one because that's a real good idea. And I think that really happens. My sense is that will happen most in a trust environment where we have a media ecosystem that's not totally walled off from what already exists. It's not that we shouldn't ever look at YouTube or Instagram, whatever. But if we create a separate system, a better system, where the values are aligned with life, then the people who are going to gravitate towards that are going to be the kind of people that want to have an impact and make change and participate. And so I would love to see a kind of a next generation of a video platform where I know that I'm going to find stories that are really inspiring and compelling. And not only am I watching them, but I'm helping to identify the best stories, the best practices, the best business ideas, and I'm helping support them. I'm crowdfunding them, or I'm echo amplifying them throughout my network, or if I'm a media maker, maybe I'm forking the media that I've found about them and remaking that media into something else to amplify it even more. So I'm really excited about how we can use media to amplify and accelerate in a business kind of way these ideas.
That reminds
And,
me
and
of
this,
something.
yeah, this is I think where trust networks really come into play. Because if I can track where in my network the creator is, and I know the people in between, so I can trust them. But as a creator, I also know that I can actually reach the people, that my friends of friends, and so on, maybe selected based on their interest. That's huge, because there's no platform today that helps do that. And so that means that if I see a creator that I really like and I want to support them, I can. I can have that direct relationship with them, which is now not possible.
So I want to challenge a key thing that you said there, which you just slipped through, which I am ideologically offended by, which is the statement, the kinds of people that want to make a contribution or an impact, I think is what you said. And I believe that human beings, being social beings, everybody wants to make, aside from people at a very borderline psychopathic personality, everybody wants to contribute.
I'm going to
Yes,
excuse myself.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, many people have been crushed
Let
by
me check how many
culture,
people are watching.
society, trauma, and algorithms, and a million other things to turn into inhuman lifestyles and ways. But I believe that underneath, everybody wishes to be a good human being, to feel in connection, to contribute. It's just that we've, through this mass systems from the nation state, capitalism, all of those things that we've been talking about over the past 5-10,000 years, we've been turned against ourselves by systems which are not run by evil people or whatever. They just evolve. They are parasitic systems running on the wetware of humans that are turning us and resulting in outcomes which don't make any, overall, don't make really anybody happy. Because it's not true that the average person is happier than, yes, it's better to be rich than to be in deep poverty, but it doesn't make you, it doesn't make you a happier human being to be rich than if you're just regularly comfortable. So, and I think that is an important thing for me, that there is no us and them. Everybody's on some sort of a journey, and different people are at different ways. And come join us. And yes, sure. I mean, some people will not make it all the way to enlightenment on their journey. I know I won't. But I don't think we should, because there is just like a give upism in this framing of these kinds of people, and those others, they're not our kinds of people. Can we not reach out and allow those other the people, everybody, to take one step forward from wherever they are?
I hear you, and I think maybe there was just a word choice there, and I think maybe what I should have said is people who are ready, because I think that it is a human impulse for all humans except sociopaths, which is actually an important thing that I might want to come back to. But yes, and the systems that unfortunately we've inherited, oppress and distract and make it so that many people are not able to be ready or want to make change on in this moment. They may want on a soul level, they may want even on a very practical level, but they have to pay the bills or they have to do the things that are necessitated. So, it's not an us and them. It's just a who is ready to show up and everybody is invited.
So this is where I see, ready. Who defines ready? What does ready mean? But this is, I would say, the wanting to take a step, right? And this is where I see the current society's plague of mental health problems, burnout, and all kinds of physical problems, which are actually just sublimated psychological struggles. That is a sign that majority of the population would like to take a step out of and make a change, right? Most of them have not heard of regeneration or nature connection or other things, but they're feeling the pain.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think rather than looking at who is ready, who is that, make out the invitation and try and create systems, frameworks, experiences, software that enables anybody to take one step forward from wherever they are. And also appreciate that all you can ever do is take one step forward from exactly wherever you are.
I want to say one thing, and I feel you over there, Joachim. I think yes, and the invitation is so important.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I smell a weed. You smell a weed?
No, where's the weed?
We are live.
I smell it.
Oh, we need some lubricant here. No, we're doing great.
After this.
Oh. It's like a whole new world. We're back in the light.
We should have advertisement pause now.
I'm telling you.
I know. We'll be back after a short commercial break from the future.
We are missing one guest. Come on.
We're live here, buddy.
We are live
We're live.
on YouTube.
Okay.
No, come.
Oh, come. This way. Right this way.
No, okay. We're gonna here. Come closer, Hakeem, and I'm gonna hand the mic to you because I think that was the universe telling me that it's time to pass the mic.
So I wanted to say something about what you just discussed with Victor. Are you ready or not? For me, the other question is, what is the story that we're crafting now? What is the story so that people like you and me, well, actually not you and me, because we are already in the story, right? But others who are not yet there, understand what is happening and want to make that change, want to take that step in the right direction, right? And that story can't be crafted from the old world, right? To say, join us and you can make money, right? Or join us and your power will improve. It's a new story, but it has to be attractive enough for people to resonate with that and see, yes, I'm ready to step out of the old story and want to at least try that new story, right? And that's where it's difficult to find the right terms, the right words for that. If you start with regeneration, as I just said, not many people know about this. It's a new term. It's what are you trying to do here, right?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Yes, what does it mean? So exactly from our model, right? That our viewers unfortunately can't see, but I'm sure you guys
we
share.
saw it earlier.
Yeah, okay.
They've been watching closely the whole time,
Okay,
squinting at their phones to make sure they can read it.
right. Excellent. But the story we're crafting there on the
You were
top,
showing it.
It was shown, yeah.
right? I think the way you craft that story is, I think what was it Victor? What story orchestration of a journey, something like that.
Something like that.
It has to be a journey. That we first step into something new, right? And it has to be a journey of learning, a journey of increasing your own capacities, skills, passion around what we're doing, and it has to go along a couple of dimensions. What I think is there's a dimension of the individual and then the collective. So understanding both sides, what's in it for me, and also what is in it for everybody else. Hey, joining us. And then it's a journey, an inner journey of who I am, and an outer journey of who would I want to project outside, who do we want to be outside, and how do we want to connect with others. And that's a journey for me of coherence. That's a really big part of this. It's a journey of building things, of creating new spaces, crafting new kinds of organizations, new protocols, right? And it's a journey of how do we interact, how do we interface with all the other players here? What are ways to build these stronger foundations of new networks, right? So something like this needs to be part of the story, that this is my onboarding step, this is my first step into this new world, and from there it can go anywhere, right? So something like that.
Thank you. I want to welcome Ronald. And we started this conversation I was talking about the synchronicities that happen in this field, and I was literally thinking the next thing I was going to say was referencing what you said earlier. So you showed up at exactly the right time.
There you go.
We're talking about storytelling for this new regenerative future. The Regen OS is part of creating that future, but really, the story of how do we invite people into this new frame of regeneration or cooperation in a different way, or how even the wording we don't quite know yet, or rather we know, but we know that it's going to maybe different words and different stories are going to appeal to different people and different groups. And this is where you were sort of speaking about the idea that like the mass audience is no longer a relevant idea. It's obsolete, that we are now fractalizing into these kind of smaller spaces, groups, of resonance. And I'm going to hand it over to you in a second, but I just want to say that with the media piece that I'm working on, that's I think one, in terms of how we upgrade the media, the storytelling part of this fractal impact. Again, thanks to Brett Warshawski, love you. We need to tell a story with the same end point, same ending, flourishing future for all life, but tell it in this polyphonic way where it can resonate with so many different little acoustic chambers, the way that you put it before. And the only way to do that is to have many people telling the story.
So maybe tell us about your media project, because.
Well, I was mentioning a little bit about it before, but I definitely want to hand the mic over to Juan in a second. But I'll say that, so I'm a filmmaker. I have stories to tell that I think can help people feel and envision this new future. So I can tell them my way. But there's so many other ways to tell this story, important ways that I could never even imagine. So a big piece of this media ecosystem is creating ways for people to tell their stories that land with resonant audiences, and where those storytellers are supported for telling those stories. Because right now we have this system of influencers and blah 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 blah, and it's like it doesn't feel good. We need another way. It's like similar to that, but that's sort of the shadow version of what we need. We need people to be telling their stories from a very authentic place, in a very, guided by their vision and by their wisdom, and how they want to see the world shaped. So I'm curious if you have thoughts in any way about that, but especially maybe speaking to me about, this media project that I'm working on, where we could talk about all the details, but you're a systems thinker, so I'm curious, just having heard what was just spoken about, what your thoughts are.
So thank you for this opportunity to speak here. I think the core problem here has been that this new fractalization of all of those new community is sort of like what was bulbing even in the broadcast age. We mean this age where we uniform all subjectivity with television, with radio, with all of that. There was always this bulbing difference in people, but they were covered by this kind of new medium. And so you have to always wonder that throughout the history of humanity, there have always been storytellers that appear for all kind of circumstance. You can call it a kind of archetypal disposition that makes some people really attuned to the mimetic field, the zeitgeist, and not only that, but seeing a little bit in advance what are the desire or even what are the new symbols that are asking to be born. And so new circumstance, new medium, new environments, all of those new storytellers appear again to play the same game. You know, the old game of something is changing and we need to rearticulate symbols in a way that generate aliveness. Because what is story about? It's about making sense. It's the concept, the way in which we make identity for ourselves is also a story. It's my memories, my action, all of that makes a certain sense. There is a kind of logic behind all of that, and that cohesiveness built for me a kind of immunity layers. You know, that all of information I receive will now be treated by that identity, by that continuity. And so story is kind of like taking care of the membrane of the world you care about. I will give you a kind of system in which all of the future experience, all of the information that you will receive, and right now we have an excess of information and we have very low immunity because we have very poor story that makes sense of whatever you want to call this crisis. And so all of those information are overloading people, and then they latch on to identities that are partial part of themselves, that get them stuck, that just keeps them running in circles toward the symbols and trying to fit in for whatever group, whatever demand is asked out of them. So they run on this low fuel and low immunity without a clear cohesive system that allow them to really take in all of those new information and find new meaning. So I think I've met all type of storyteller. I think I could be one myself and you will be one for yourself too. And the core question you have to ask is really what in everything you have observed, in everything that you have seen, in your deepest feeling, what do you think is the most resonant, the most artful message that you can carry? And you have to consider that your story is not just about you. Your inspiration comes from other filmmakers, from people you met, from author, from thinker, for all of that. So you are transforming the whole sum of everything you have absorbed into your new machine of creating stories. So it's not just your story, it's kind of like the past is with you and the future is gazing at you. Like, how are you gonna transform that situation so that you can carry your things forward? And so I always like to think about what is the quality of the influence that makes you a good storyteller? Because historically, I remember this book from this sociologist called Randall Collins, where he mapped out all of the philosophers that has existed throughout, like from Confucius to like the 60s with like Heidegger and all of that. And basically he noticed that they were always at the center of network of interaction. So they were connected to the big figure. They come from a strong lineage of a trainer or something like that, and they had strong enemies. So that configuration created something that make genius emerge or certain kind of talent happen in the world. And the same way for storyteller, there are some condition in network configuration. Some people will call it the sinus, which will be the spirit of the network, that sort of give a certain quality to what kind of storyteller you are. Because many people tell story, but some story are very conducive, very qualitative, and other story are just deception, or just running through, repeating what the zeitgeist wants, but not really adding something new. So I think this quality of where does your training or your archetypal activation as a storyteller come from is a fundamental question of this filtering. You know, who I am absorbing. I am really in tune with the best figure of my time, the most distinctive, the most reflective, which will allow through my art, through my craft, to really shine into, to make something really different, you know. And so in any art that you practice, be it literature, you know, if I want to be a good writer, I will read good classics to a good foundation, and then I will be inspired by other authors and other things, and that whole sum will kind of be my toolbox of thinking about my own craft. And so as a filmmaker, it's sort of the same way, you know. Some cineasts give you a kind of way they make their own plan, the way they make the transition, and it kind of give you an aesthetic framework in how you can work with that. So I think you can think that on multiple layer of inspiration, the quality of the message, who are you, where are you situated in the network to have that power as a storyteller. So those are point of reflection that I'm opening up so that you have things to think through with that. So yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. I wanted to add one more thing to this. This is so beautiful. You know, the way you grasp new ideas, new concepts, is based on existing concepts you already learned. It's called the adjacent possible, right? So think about millions of nodes, dots, where you have learned something, you're connecting the dots, you understand it. But now you're creating a new dot somewhere, right? And that needs to connect to some existing concepts, some existing ideas that you already, you know, embraced and understand. And if you don't have the connection, if you just place a dot out there, this is regeneration, and you don't know where to connect it to from your existing mind, right, from your existing knowledge, it won't stay, you know, it will just disappear. So in crafting the story, I think there needs to be some linkage to existing terms, you know, ideas that are adjacent, so meaning they're closely related in some way, but they're not that thing yet, right?
Examples?
Could be examples, yeah, but I think it's things that you already know, you learned in, you know, schools, or you know, you read about, yeah. Ecology, right? So, you know, terms that are obvious, that make sense to people, and then you come up with this extra that pushes you further out, right? That's expanding your boundary of who you are and what it is that we're trying to do. That's one thing. The other idea I had was, there's a book from Ted Rauer, who's doing Sociocracy for All, and the title of the book is Many Voices, One Song. Like two things, right? He didn't say one song, many voices, right? If you flip this around, it's like, okay, somebody creates this one big song, now you guys all sing along, right, and repeat it, right? But we're starting from the point of there are many voices down there, right? And we're now composing this one song, this new song, right? Call it whatever it is, right? And I think that might resonate too, you know, if we can bring that thought somewhere across, right? Okay.
Nice. I want to hand the mic to you in a second, but I do want to say a few things in response to what you both just said. I love that you were talking about story creating our identity, because a lot of the conversation in this tent today was about identity on this other layer of, you know, how we're connected to our networks, or are we verified by somebody with a digital key that proves that we're human. You had another, Joaquin, that was how like your proof of identity. Can you remind me about that?
Yeah, I wanted to base that on activities. You know, what did you actually do in the network?
That's right. Your contributions and
Contributions.
yes,
Yep.
exactly. So all these different ways that, like in this technological sphere, people are trying to create an identity that actually maps onto a human being in some way. But what I thought of while you were saying that is that actually it's all of those things. It's my social network. It's the impacts, the things that I've done. It's the way that I see myself and the way that I present myself in my profile. It's the way that, you know, the other people are reflecting. You know, it's we are all storytellers, and we all tell a story about ourselves. And there's an idea in storytelling that's very popular in, you know, with filmmakers, which is the hero's journey. We've all heard of the hero's journey. And now, of course, marketers have figured out how powerful this technology is. And so if you want to sell something to somebody, you make them the hero of the journey that gets them to buy your shit, right? Whatever. But we can take that power back. And I think the question, this invitation in the offering is, here's an opportunity for you to be the hero of your own story.
Yep. The everyday hero.
Yeah. And the way that this offering is that you can step into this future world that other people are also stepping towards, and you can write the song with us. Your voice is needed. Without your voice, this song is incomplete.
Yeah.
So be the hero and sing your voice and tell your story. And that narrative is so compelling, and also it's unique to everybody. And so this next iteration of whatever media is this story that everybody's telling about where they're coming from, what their influences are, you know, what they love, what hurt them, you know, what inspires them, what scares them, and also everything else, their friends, their community, their, you know, their dreams. We all have to tell our story, and it is coming into resonance. I think that's the beauty of this, and like the synchronicity piece, that is this magic quality that somehow is emergent, that no matter how technological we get, we can't explain it because it's actually an embodied human phenomenon. There is something that I think we just have to trust, that we as humans, most of us at least, are coming into resonance together to sing this song together. And I think there's a quality of faith that I have found. You know, I think we talk about hope and inspiration, and, you know, and faith can kind of be a dirty word sometimes because it's got a lot of baggage. But honestly, there are times when you look at the world and hope doesn't do it. You just got to have faith. And being around humans like this and in conversations like this gives me faith. You know, what more could I ask for? So, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Why are you giving this to me?
Because it's your turn.
Oh, okay. So what comes to me is that you really made me wonder, Joachim, when you said that we need to find those adjacent terms to build bridges for people. And I recall my own story. I didn't have any bridge. It was just like regeneration. Aha, okay, that's it. Here we are. And I'm curious about your story. About like, how did you find yourself into the regenerative ecosystem? Was it always like that, or was it one day that you have encountered this word and that was it? Maybe a short and sweet version.
Well, I want to pass it along just because I have to take a quick bio break, but I will be listening to the story.
We'll grab Kevin to get his story in the meantime.
What a great question, first of all. It's a very generative question. I love these kind of questions that go on and on and on, right? So for me, you know, what I discovered in the last years really has to do with wisdom, maturity, and you understand yourself better, is that everything I did since the beginning, you know, since I studied my first computer, you know, class, attached that to sort of a business degree, wanted to end up in knowledge management, came to the US, you know, did that for 15 years, consulting stuff, then social collaboration, then the technology behind that, then knowledge expeditions to bring people into these spaces, see how they react, how they respond. Then another one I did on the digital life collective, what it means to live a digital life, the security, the insecurity, the dangers in that, right? What governments and states are doing to you. To finally Haifa with blockchain technology that kind of complements everything else. So for me, coming back to the question, how did I get into this? It feels like every step was in the right direction, right? And then the conversation we had today was about, well, this is actually part of who you are, right? There's a pattern that repeats for people who are on the same track, right?
Do you remember the day when you for the first time heard the word regeneration or the regenerative movement? Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I think that was about 8-9 years ago, when I looked at regenerative currencies, and see how these circular economies might work
All right. So
in
it's smaller
smaller villages.
regenerative economy.
Yeah, and at that time we tried to design this first iteration of a real regenerative currency, and that pulled me into all kinds of side projects, and then Haifa came out of that project, and then here we are today with building that stuff.
Sweet. Thank you. I'm curious about other answers to the same question.
So this may be a bit polarizing because in a way I don't really consider that I'm part of regenerative networks. I am just passing by like a nomad, because right now there is a certain proximity to initiatives and things that people are trying to do to build community, to try to build new space and to think about the future. And they have different levels. Some are regenerative and others have their own terminology, their own ideology, their own flavor of resonance within their own world. So for me, it's a world that I'm passing by with curiosity, because there is a lot of interesting people that are trying to weave in technology, human, and this aspect of how do we make this world livable again, And so this touch to aliveness, which is a universal concept and, something that anybody can relate. But from what I have observed, aliveness is kind of the recurring goal that human beings are trying to reach, regardless of the story they tell, the world they build, like what is the core of the community. It's like we want to keep that song going, the pleasant song, the nice acoustics, the story that makes us feel really human, really alive. So in a way, you could say that there is no real label for regenerative because it's underlying everything. So that's why I will say that it's a more broader metaphysical idea more than a specific label of a community. And so, yes, I will say my position has been more nomadic, and I discovered it through the sort of agents like adjacent to many movement like metamodernism and things that are trying to think through the liminal new condition and the meta crisis and stuff like that. And since those terms are pretty common nowadays, they kind of lead you toward at some point that aspect of regenerescence and regenerative aspects of communities. And there you see the whole plethora of activities going on and the sort of people and the sort of idea they have. So so this is a movement of the time. And
how would you identify, I understand that maybe you don't like to have one label, but maybe few.
I could give a term. I think I'm more interested in thinking about the architecture or even we think about building things or idea or stuff. So my position is more when I traverse those network or I see those worlds is, okay, if I have a toolbox in my hand, what can I add from this that I'm observing that could be used for in my own toolbox? And so when I carry into the future, I'm like, I learned this from there. It's like learning a trade by being exposed to a new community of humans and they teach you something. And it's like, I love to go to different networks or different world because I know at the end of it, I can extract a tool and be like, okay, this is a great tool and I can use it. And since I've been to other world, I can also say, hey, did you know that on this other side of the planet, on this other world, they're actually doing the same thing as you? And there is someone that you could connect to. And in the history of innovation, there is a lot of this aspect of, sometimes it's about borrowing a great idea in another industry and then making it work in your industry. But nobody was thinking about that because nobody was there. So it's kind of this process of how do you add innovation to different world too. So yeah, I like this idea of collecting those tools and thinking through the future. Because I think the reason why I have this role is because I'm still seeking higher level resonance that I haven't found yet. That's why I carry this toolbox, because I'm thinking through, okay, if this is not it, that's not exactly that. This means it lies into something that maybe I have to build myself. So that's sort of the philosophy with that.
Thank you so much, and I'm super interested to hear more. Still, I hope we still find time before this gathering ends. But now, Kevin, I'm very curious of your answer also.
Yeah, thank you. I want to comment on what you said. I brought you here because I knew you needed to connect with people, and I resonate with so much of what you said. Because also, when I first came across the regenerative movement, I didn't know what it meant, and I found out about it. And so I think I want to also be polarizing, but I also want to say that what came up for me when I heard you say that you haven't found that higher resonance yet. I think your role is to go up and down the spiral and either not fixing, but what does it need? What does this part need? And then you move on to the next. And what does this need to be healthy? So I think that maybe that feels like what your role is. And then when you get to that higher resonance, it's like, okay, my work is done. There's no more fixing, or no more. Everyone is working well, so it'll never end. You won't. Unfortunately, I don't think you'll find your higher resonance. But for me, what I really want to do is bring as many people in. So it's not just people who want to regenerate the biosphere. I think it's more like right relationship, which can be right relationship to almost anything: nature, food, each other, spiritual. So I think right relationship fits a lot of this. The economy and essential needs. I'm not sure if there's a right relationship to essential needs. They're just needs we need: clean water, access to food, health, things like that. And what I've been looking for, and I heard this today in the big conversation, was this idea of mute compulsion. And that's where nothing needs to be coerced, nothing needs to be propagandized. It just naturally flows into this channel. And that's where money has kind of done that for us. We need money to pay rent, utilities, food, this and that. And so the mute compulsion there is that we have to work. We have to, even if the job is not one that we like, and maybe we don't have time for our family because we're having to work two jobs because wages haven't gone up in proportion to the cost of goods. So there's this, and because it's something that people just fall into, it can be exploited. More profit, more. So what is that thing that is also like mute compulsion for this movement that just people just want to fall into? I heard play, I heard games. People love to have fun. Storytelling, yeah. And also security, health, trust, exactly. All these things where we have more certainty that I'm not going to be harmed.
I love it.
Yeah. So
I love it. Thank you.
But I still want to find it.
Yeah. This is great. This is great because we are building, like I think it was who said this. I guess this was a general notion that we need to build journeys, right? And design onboarding paths into whatever tools we are building. And I guess this notion, how did you call it?
Yeah, mute compulsion.
Mute compulsion.
So it's compulsive, but it's not
Okay.
saying anything. It's not like having to propagandize itself.
Sounds legit.
Right?
What I wanted to add to your question is, this is a path, or a step into uncertain territory,
Mm.
an unknown territory.
Of course.
We don't know what this is going to be, how it's going to look like. So we need some explorers, really. That I think we find here.
Aren't we all explorers?
Yes, pioneers,
Not- yeah,
explorers.
It's actually not easy to find. People who are ready to step into the unknown, right? There are people who really become, afraid, basically, right? And want to step out of this and want to get back to the known territory, and predictable stuff. We are sort of on the frontier here to say let's move forward, and we need to acquire some techniques, right? Some skills to do that, really. So instead of planning and figuring out the next step, we're just sensing into that. We're seeking, we're sensing, we're responding to what's coming in, right? Creating this cybernetic feedback loop in the first iteration, and then thinking about what we did in the second iteration about the system we're building. Is that the right system? And are we making mistakes, right?
And I want to say we should be experimenting and embracing failure, because we learn from
Absolutely,
failure. Yes.
absolutely. Because nobody will come, no alien will land here tonight and tell us what's the story. You gotta go in this direction. We have to figure this out, right? And we can only do this collectively, right? We can't do this individually anymore. This is way too big. That's why we gotta be prepared for something that's coming, something big that's coming, right?
Yeah.
Guys, I think we have 12 minutes to finish the show.
Okay. Yep.
And I suggest one more play.
Okay. Play.
I mean, one play. So we have cards here. Victor designed them, and here's the rules of the game. You pick one card, and then you think of an answer. And now this is.
I used to be a magician, so.
Okay, yeah.
Pick a card, any card.
So the idea is to first think of an answer for a moment, and then so that reply can be what comes to me is short and sweet. So I would like this to be like scripted, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think our audience can forgive us a moment of silence while everybody, you can make notes if you want, and just give us this answer to be like, one sentence or some powerful statement, not just like free flowing on the topic. Okay.
I like that.
Good. Let's read the questions. I like my question. Do you like your questions?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Let's meditate on the answer.
Yes. Okay.
You
Kick us
ready?
off. Kick us off.
No, I
No,
don't start.
not you. Well, I have mine, so in case people need some more time. But so mine was, how are you a good ancestor? How are you a good ancestor? So two things came to me was, I like the idea of the 7 generations, of the generations before me and the generations after. And that implies, second, third order consequences to my choices and things like that. That can be a little difficult. So the one I would fall back on, if I couldn't do that, was leave the place better than I found it. That's a rule that I always live by.
My card. First of all, I want to talk about the strangeness of picking random cards. They always find you for some reason, right?
Exactly.
And you get exactly the right card that you're supposed to get. I don't know why, but
Now
it's
I have
magic.
to look
There
at your
must be
card.
science behind it.
So mine was, who are your customers? That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm looking for my customers up there. So actually, the way we found our first customers was look into their eyes, you know. Do they have bright eyes, you know? Do they resonate with what you're saying, you know? That's your customer,
Like
right?
that.
Right there. And the stories we're telling will resonate with them, and you get into these deeper conversations. You know, you're talking to the right person, picking up the right signals, right, and exchanging the right energy, and creating an enormous, you know, attractor around that. So that's how we started, right? So looking for the right people that have bright eyes works. And now that I'm deeper in my adoption role, and works for the first 100, 200, 300, 500 groups that you're on board. But then you're thinking about, well, it doesn't stop here. It needs to go further than that. So you need to find the people who do not have the bright eyes yet, but who will have them one day, right? So how do you talk to them? How do you find these customers, right? And that is similar to the idea of the adjacent possible. So you have to look into similar spaces, neighboring spaces, and then you reach into that, right? You find the right use cases that maybe they're attractors for these new people that have not heard about the stuff we're building, and maybe ready, you know, in that case to start building this new world that we're all wanting to see.
Thank you. So my question is, how are you using Web 3.0? And the answer is very little. And there are several factors to that. I think the first is a kind of internet fatigue of new tools. You know, we just went from that big hype with social media changing the world and all of that. And then after it crashed, there is this new wave that come and say, we will decentralize blockchain, crypto, blah, blah, blah. And they are the crash. So I think this noise become a very strong repeller that prevents the adoption. And if you add to the mix a kind of shady attitude that come from, you know, the marketing capitalistic aspect of how do I exploit this as fast as possible, it creates a very strange loop where this is an environment very unfriendly for thinking properly and in a grounded way about the future. And paradoxically, there is within Web 3.0 a lot of tools and things that could technically change the way we do things, you know, with blockchain and the possibility of protocol and stuff like that. So it's a kind of dialectic between you have this, but who is using that? You know, who is attracted? What kind of network form around the hype and delivering those products, and kind of destroying the reputation because the user of the tool was not the right one. So all of this make it so that I wonder if Web 3.0 even exists, and if we are not just in Web 2.5 that refused to die and run like a zombie, you know, his old ideas and recycle them infinitely into a time that refuses history. So, yeah, that's the relationship we have.
Okay, thanks. All right.
Now your question.
My question is very funny. Who should talk to whom and about what? And
That's a great question.
That's exactly what he did in the last days, right? Looking around, who should talk to who?
exactly. And
Found you.
basically, the answer didn't want to come to me. I had the feeling that I'm trying to make things up, and the realization that I got is that I don't have to do this work manually anymore. Perhaps, I mean, maybe at some point I will have to again, but I have a feeling that it is kind of working. And that I have to still work with this question though, because I have to figure out some program for tomorrow morning where we are starting a breakfast show. And
If it's not raining,
Huh?
if it's not hurricane.
if it's no, I think we'll figure.
Okay.
It doesn't matter the circumstances. We have to continue. and also that I have to talk to Victor about. So me have to talk to Victor.
That's your whom.
yeah.
And about what?
And about the big coherence, because I really enjoy doing this, especially in this live form. It's even like so much more fun than online, and I don't know how it is going to be, but I would say that we have to continue.
Oh yeah, we will. We shall. We shall persevere.
Good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been so lovely.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe you can check. Maybe there are some questions from the
Oh
audience.
yes. Okay. Questions from the audience. Let's see.
In case, so that it doesn't go unchecked.
We got all this good stuff. People really resonated with the stories.
Uh-huh.
Um,
People really resonated with stories.
yeah. Especially the stories we tell ourselves.
The story we tell ourselves.
And we feel that we must do what we can do for it to happen. That's the final comment we have. So no questions, but
No questions.
lots of good responses.
All right. Amazing to have
Thank you.
viewers.
Okay. All right.
We're gone.